between the 10-year gap we've had between Inquisition and Dragon Age Dreadwolf, it's been a bit of a challenge staying informed and excited about the upcoming Dragon Age. But one content creator has stayed vigilant through that incredibly long period of time. For the past 8 years, he's been keeping us informed and appraised of teases, leaks, all the information that we could possibly find. And he's been clowning around on Game Awards streams like an absolute legend, keeping us excited about the upcoming Dragon Age. And we're, of course, talking about the legendary Jackdaw.
You are too kind. Thank you. I'm just humbled to be here and humbled to talk to you too as well. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Very lovely, very heraldic intro. Thank you.
Welcome to the stream.
Thank you so much. Really happy to be here. Really happy to talk about Dragon Age, Bioware, whatever. No, I really appreciate both of you inviting me to this.
What's the plan then, Craig? We were doing a bit of an interview to start off with, and then some.
Yeah, a bit of a. I would say like sort of a get to know you sort of thing.
Let's do it.
I think we kind of have a good idea of like who you are and the kind of content you create, but like just for our listeners, our viewers, but also like to learn a little bit more as well.
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of have a little bit of fun and sort of rank the Dragon Age romances in our opinion. Have a bit of a debate over who we think should go where, sort of thing.
That sounds fun. Yeah, I'm all for that.
Would you like to start with your first question, Tim?
Yeah, certainly. Dragon Age 4.
Yeah.
I take it you're excited for it.
Oh, very. Yeah. A small amount.
What do you think it will have on? How do you think it'll have an impact on the series lore and the existing fan theories?
Oh, that is a really good, really deep question. I think this game, based on what we know so far going into it, and my hope is that actually, instead of giving us a lot more questions, like Dragon Age Origins, the biggest question of all, what happened, and what is the Blight? What happened originally for the fall of the Seven Magisters, the Maker? What happened to bring Blight upon this world? Questions. What are the Darkspawn? What is the Blight? Why are the Grey Ones doing this? How long? All these 5 Blights. So many things. Dragon Age 2, even more questions. Red Lyrium, introduction of the Mage versus the Templars. So many different dynamics going on there. Different entities found, the Deep Roads, and then Inquisition. Even more questions that even in the DLCs. From Trespasser to the Elven Gods to the Descent with the Titans origin, literally introducing like a massive core aspect of the game's lore in the 3rd game's DLC. I hope and I think, at least based on what Bioware are telling us, that they're actually now going to start answering those questions. Not all of them, but the way they're talking about the Elven Gods. So Elganon and Gillanan are blighted Elven Gods. Bit of a spoiler. Not massive spoiler because Game Informer have shared this, but it's a little bit of a spoiler going into this game. But they confirmed to be blighted gods, and they're going to be blighting the world, which kind of already illustrates that the Blight now has been a long-standing fan theory. But for those coming into this, for those who played Origins and drifted away, confirms that the Blight predates the Veil and is of some kind of elven origin or has a lot of ties to the precursor races before the now existing Dragon Age, which is already a huge revelation just based on the subtext of that statement, the idea that the Elven Gods are blighted. We know codices, you can dig into it, you can put all your tinfoil hats on about all that stuff, but now it's a given fact that these gods are arising and they're blighted, which is a huge thing. And a knock-on effect of that is the Darkspawn are now rising to the surface, aligning the fact that the Elven Gods have some control over them, which then, with it being Blight-related, ties into the Grey Wardens. So I feel like we're going to have some mysteries unraveled around them too. And what's cool in the Veilguard is we're going to the actual headquarters of the Wardens. In Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition, we've always seen that southern representation of the Order, this Ferelden Order, or bits of it in Orlais, where it's been a good representation of the Wardens, but the Weishaupt Wardens is actually the original Order, how it was established to be, how it was set up, and that's in the Anderfels, which is a completely blighted barren land, where it's said that Darkspawn have a huge, large presence there. So to actually get the full uncoverings of the Order, it's going to be a huge lore reveal. The Titans introduced in Inquisition's DLC. Now, Scout Harding, one of our dwarven scout companion, finally having a female dwarf who you can romance in a Dragon Age game. the fact that we're finally having a female dwarf's companion properly introduced is brilliant. But she's now got magical abilities, which is like, what's going on there? In Inquisition's Descent DLC, it illustrated this connection, the dwarves and the titans. And now we're seeing that with literally Scout Lace Harding, which is fantastic. So I think that's going to open so many doors up to the possibilities of magic, the dwarves' history, the dwarves' connections. I could go on. I think the biggest thing,
not much impact then.
and then even like the small nuanced stuff of like, we'll go into Navarra, which is a place I've wanted to go for so long, and the kind of inklings we had in the previous games was, oh, you know, they mummify their dead, they're doing all this stuff, we don't really know that. And we already had a codicy released 2 years ago that was like one of the characters. It could have been Audric or it could have been Emric, who could be one of our new companions. Well, sorry, Emric is our new companion. And then Audric is a librarian at the necropolis. And it just said what you think about in the previous kind of references of Navarra's culture based on Brother Genetivi, who was this philosopher in the original games. His notes are wrong, actually. This is the true way we live our lives. And it's a nice way, not to retcon, because it's a very strong word. It's a nice way to offer a different perspective on the law in a very natural way of, this is how you perceived this Navarran culture to be. This is what you've heard from previous characters. Actually, it's not like that. And when you're going to go here, based on this current thing, this is what it's really like. And that's a really nice way to codify it, of just offering it as a character's perspective, as opposed to, they said that, and that must be true. No, actually, it's a matter of perspective. But yeah, so many things. I think it's going to do wonders. Griffins are back. That was in the books, but of course, if you're not a hardcore fan, you're not reading all the books, which I completely understand, because going from playing video games to then reading books, it's a completely different activity. And I was even talking to my friend the other day who loves Dragon Age, but he's not bothered about looking at all the nitty-gritty. Griffins made a subtle reappearance in the books, and it was hinted at of eggs hatching and at Weishaupt. And now we've seen from literally the cinematic tease, Griffins are back, which is a huge plot revelation because of one of the books, again, where it revealed that they had got the blight. They killed a lot of them off in the fourth blight. And now they're back. And that is going to be so satisfying. To even goofy things like we're going to have a skeletal assistant companion. Well, he is the companion of our companion. But that's going to be brilliant to see. And Matthew Mercer's voice acting him. So because we're going to a brand new continent and we've heard so many little tidbits about what we've never been there, there is a now new vast pool of lore that we're going to see. And all of our previous perceptions of that are thinking of, like, I know Tevinter does have this perception. It is a politically divided nation with so many of its class systems. And we just think of it negatively. But I know we're going to go there and we're going to see the wonders of it too. And that is equally brilliant, as it is going to be terrifying. But it's going to open the world up in so many aspects. It's going to be so exciting, for sure. Yeah,
it is so crazy to be talking to someone with such a wealth of knowledge about it.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Please, for the love of Andraste, don't listen to the last episode of our podcast. Because we are just so lost and confused trying to talk about Chinese.
I think we started Googling stuff halfway through.
Are you guys more Mass Effect orientated?
Typically.
Yeah. But I have played the Dragon Age games as well. So
I think I kept it in our last podcast that Tim sort of frantically finished Trespasser just before we started recording that Dragon Age episode.
What did you think of it?
Yeah, it was all right. It's good. I was getting a bit tedious with all the mobs that he's having to get through, and that big guardian guy that you had to fight about.
Oh, the canary dude.
The 6 times or something. I was getting fed up with having to kill him, and then I enjoyed the ending, and I was a bit frustrated that that's the real ending and it's behind the DLC. But
yeah, it's true. No, that's a good criticism. The fact that that is the real ending of the game, and it's behind a paywall to actually get that full, really. And I know that Bioware just had done that with each game. In Origins, it was Witch Hunt, where at the end of Origins, Morrigan runs away, and then you have to get the DLC to then see where she runs to and rekindle that or see where she's going. Dragon Age 2. Not as obvious, but the Legacy DLC introduced Corypheus, who turned out to be the big bad of Inquisition. And now Inquisition, Trespasser, introducing Solas. So that they just have a habit of doing that. And I mean, I suppose they did a Mass Effect 2 with the Arrival DLC, where it's like But even then, that still felt like a DLC.
Yeah.
I think, because you've got the suicide mission, and coming off the back of that is then doing a rival.
Yeah.
But that flowed a lot more because the suicide mission was very, this is it. And then actually, oh, spoilers, Shepard survived, and this is what he's doing next. More kind of seemingly seamlessly following into a DLC as opposed to Inquisition's Trespasser DLC, which literally,
I would maybe argue though, like that. Well, and this is just my personal opinion, actually.
Go for
But Witch Hunt, I just kind of, for my character, like in my first time playing Origins, I hadn't romanced Morgan.
Yeah.
So for me, when I played it, it felt weird to then do Witch Hunt because I was thinking, I'm chasing after this girl who made this decision to leave me. For a very good reason because of how awkward it is, especially since my character romanced Liliana. It's like now she's chasing after this other girl, and it's just
true. Yeah, because like if you're romancing, you vow to say her to find her. But if you're not doing that, you are kind of just looking out for your friend, I suppose, and there is that connection with the plot. But yeah, I do get that too. I do get that.
But it's like it's not something that your friend wants, so it felt a little bit weird for me.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get that. I do get that. Yeah.
But I was going to ask actually.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, what was I going to ask? What's your take on? Because obviously it is quite sad, but what's kind of your take on Game Informer and the situation there? Like,
oh, flipping heck, yes. Oh, I mean, as somebody who did journalism at university and has always aspired to be a games journalist, and like that's why I got into YouTube, was what am I going to do while studying? I'm going to start a YouTube channel and just talk about what I like, and that's actually ended up to be a better career than going into games journalism. But Game Informer for me have been like the OG aspiring gaming journalists. I started my channel during Mass Effect Andromeda, but I was always watching E3, watching gaming journalists like Game Informer, GameSpot, IGN. And Game Informer particularly have had such a good relationship with Bioware, where you'd always have journalists flying over to Edmonton, properly doing proper detailed, good journalism with them. You know, yes, they have paid for that trip. Yes, a lot of it has been covered in terms of expenses, but they're still offering their critiques. They're still being genuine journalists. And they've been so close at just always doing the cover stories of Bioware IPs from, in my memory, Inquisition, Andromeda, Anthem to now Veilguard. And literally now, a month after the Veilguard has its explosive Game Informer cover, they've literally been made redundant from, is it GameStop? Which is just, it's devastating because genuinely, like, the gaming industry is already like just a really hard place for anybody to break into. To see like even the journalism aspect of that being affected by layoffs and just crappy practices, it's devastating for those deeply affected by it, but then also those who aspire to get into that. Like it's how do you get into an industry? How do you aspire to get into one of the good examples of proper games journalism when they're being laid off because of crappy practices from fat cats atop? It's difficult. So I'm really it's really heartbreaking.
It's also the impact on the game developers as well, I suppose. Like the gaming industry as it is difficult enough for people to want to go into it with, you know, those layoffs at the companies themselves. But then, you know, if you have gaming journalists that can't thrive in the industry either, then those games can't be promoted in the first place.
Absolutely. It's this whole ecosystem effect of, you know, they make the game. And then naturally, journalists market it, but in a more opinionated, subjective way. And without that crucial hardcore journalism, though, of telling you how they actually feel about it, you are just getting PR. You're getting paid for advertisements. You're not getting that authenticity. You're not getting that raw content of actually this is what it should be. And that's kind of what influencer culture is becoming, or content creation culture is becoming. Is people trust now content creators, i.e., channels like myself, more than IGN. And that is more prevalent when you actually watch their content. And no disrespect to them, but they're not saying. Again, as a hardcore fan, it's hard, but they're misquoting bits, or they're saying Fen Harrell as Fan Harrell, and then taking bits out of context. Whereas somebody who does the research and properly does it, you're gonna gravitate more to watch their content. So it's a full circle ecosystem effect, which is really unfortunate. Really heartbreaking. Especially because that cover story as well is brilliant, and that is now the final Game Informer article of the Veilguard, which is insane. And I even looked on Twitter the other day, and Game Informer account is already gone. It's insane.
Yeah, they just closed it down completely. Yeah, it was like that.
Yeah. It's like flipping it. Like no time for people to get their own work, to make a portfolio for those who, need to get a journalism job now or to move on somewhere, hopefully they've backed up their own work, because it's just like that, and like in the middle of the night gone, which is heartbreaking for the 33 years of work that people across the globe put into it. It's devastating.
It just makes no sense to me why they can't keep existing articles up. It just baffles me.
Yeah, I need another reason. I want to find out the reason, to be honest. Why can't they keep the website up and at least keep that work there and the credit there? But
it's really it's like preservation as well, isn't it? It's...
Yeah. And going on to preservation, I really wanted that physical copy of that Dragonage, the Veilguard cover, but we couldn't get it in the UK. Now I can ask one of my North American friends if they can ship it over to me, but that is something that I'd love to preserve and look back at in 10 years and go, oh, remember the good old days of talking about the Veilguard. And unfortunately, obviously being in the UK, I can't get that. But that digital article, I need to check if mine's still available. But yes, that's in a library somewhere kept safe, but it's still that worry of one day it could just disappear. All that work that's gone. And the guy who did all that work went to Bioware Edmonton, is now redundant. Literally got off a plane, Wesley Snipes, and he was next minute made redundant, which is awful.
I think it's that kind of wake up call as well for like digital games and things like that. How when you have it digital and you don't have it physical, you don't truly have it. They can just
you don't truly own it. Like that. You don't realize it until it's gone. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. And I did actually, when I heard the news, in the interest of preservation, I did actually order that Game Informer article off eBay.
Did you really?
I paid the shipping cost, which actually was only half the amount I paid for the initial product.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
But yeah, I wanted to have that physical thing, which still had some of the articles in it.
Yes. Oh no, that's a good memory of Game Informer, and then particularly to us of Bioware and Dragonage. And it's a really good article. It's a really good, but it's really good, well put together content too. That informed us as a proper breakthrough of news on this game, alongside the trailers and the gameplay. But that really has brought so much fuel to the fandom, and it's a shame that like that it's gone.
Yeah, I suppose to be honest, hearing that you have that sort of like a past and history with journalism, it kind of brings like a new sort of perspective on you, I suppose, and how you do so much research into the content that you provide people. Like,
for sure,
you have such a wealth of knowledge. It kind of it all makes sense now. Like you have such an understanding because you just you dig in and you do your journalistic research.
For sure, because I don't want to be bringing people misinformation, onion articles, or miss out of context content that you see on YouTube. You see people being angry for the sake of being angry, or taking something out of context and creating a video on it that they've spent about an hour doing, ranting into a microphone and clicking publish because they haven't done their research, they haven't thought about something, they haven't actually articulated what they're trying to say. They've just gone clickbait, headline, title, go for it. And I've seen so many examples of that. Just thinking of the Dragon, I'm not talking about YouTube as a whole. I'm just talking about in my own space on Dragon Age, where people have gone, I don't like this particular political thing, or look at this game, we've waited 10 years for this and they've only seen this or this. It's like, what is your point? What evidence are you showcasing, and what are you telling people? I always come from the point of view of, I'm optimistic. I'm going to criticize Bioware when need be. I'm not going to be overly negative, because fundamentally, I care about these games. I love these games. I like the direction these games are going in. I support the narratives. I support where they are in terms of their politics. But in the same regard, I want my actual cynicism and negativity to actually be heard when I am cynical about it. Because if I'm just constantly negative about something, you're actually never going to know when I actually am being negative. But in the same regard, I actually I'm genuinely excited about the Veilguard. Genuinely have all these positive thoughts behind it and support behind it. That I'm just being authentic. I'm just creating content that I genuinely do believe. And that just comes from sourcing the evidence, knowing what they're saying, and just taking that peek behind the scenes to see what Bioware mean by what they mean and what they say they're developing. And ultimately, the judge of character, the full critique will be when we all get the game and we can go, right, well, was it this? Was it that? Was it this? And yeah, that's when we're all gonna merit, be able to take full merit of it. But for me, I can look back and go, well, you know what? At least I was positive about it. At least I gave it its chance. At least I gave it a shot, as opposed to bogging it down with negativity, saying it'll be rubbish. I know that my channel has a lot of voice for like the developers and the support behind a lot of the crappy things that EA have done, layoffs, crappy decisions, not paying their employees severance pay. So I know that my channel in some regard does act as a positive environment for developers, for a lot of fans as well. And I want to remain that space where actually, if I'm one of the few positive spaces in the dragonage community, by being genuine, then that's great. But it is a positive critiquing place. I do critique the hell out of EA and their malpractices. But looking at the Bioware team, the developers who work there every single day, the ones who are doing the 9 to 5s, just like me and you, the ones who are every single day, their team workers are getting laid off. They're going through all this stuff. I can't make any accusations of crunch, but they've had the Dragonage Bioware have had history of crunch since Inquisition. Since Dragonage, since Mass Effect 3, whatever. All those team members, for me, to be a voice in that community of positivity, at least offering some kind of it when there is plenty of it, is definitely something that I will remain integral to. So, yeah.
Fairy Wing Art has offered to send you a copy of the Dragon Age.
No way! Oh, thank you so much, Fairy Wing Art. I'll yes, I would massively appreciate that. If you're my Discord, give me a DM. But I massively appreciate that.
Yeah, we can put all the links and stuff in the description if you like, and then they can
yes,
hold of you.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, thank you so much, Fairy Wing. Oh, that means a lot. And I think the thing is, EA trust that they're giving Bioware the time, and they've always given Bioware the time. I give EA a bad rap, but with Anthem and Andromeda, they always give Bioware the time. Anthem had 7 years of development, of a lot of pre-production, a lot of work, and same with Andromeda had 5 or 6, a lot of time in the oven from EA and the budget. And I think now they know that Dragon Age has been, Inquisition won Game of the Year. They're thinking if they can get this to Game of the Year, it gets us sales, it gets them in those margins. If it can live up to what a Dragon Age game can be, I don't think it will be a fantastic game. I think it'll be a great Dragon Age game, just because of the development, because it has gone through so many recycles. I do think it'll be a great game. I do. I don't think it will be fantastic, though, and it will nowhere be near Baldur's Gate 3. So I think EA going, yep, you can have another year of development to polish it, to test it. The fact that Baldur's Gate 3 is coming out, and also Dragon Age previously has won Game of the Year. We can release this in 2024 as our flagship title, have it compete in the Game Awards, and see where it goes from there. Again, all my opinions subjective, but I think that's the inkling that Bioware have had since then. So based on that year of testing, on being in alpha, it was reported, I think, September 2022. I think that it's been in alpha since then. So it's been a long, I think, I can't remember if it was 2023. No, it was 2022. So it's been a lot of time just being in QA, testing it, debugging it, play testing it again, tweaking it, whatever. And so, again, internally, we can't, I haven't seen it. I can't really believe it. But what they're saying is they're all really confident in it, which is nice to hear. But they were all confident in making a live service multiplayer game at one point. So just be devil's advocate for a second. But I don't think it will be delayed. I think that would be. I think games like Avowed from the Microsoft by Obsidian, that was delayed to February next year, and I think that's they've said themselves it's to make room. That game's ready to release, but it's to make room for other games coming out. And I think there's decent competition for the Veilguard, Greedfall 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance, Starfield DLC, which isn't going to be too big to be fair. But I think, and Assassin's Creed. But I think
it comes out at the end of this month as well.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
I'll flip a neck.
What comes out at the end of this month?
Outlaw, Star Wars game.
Oh, Star Wars,
Star Wars Outlaws, yeah.
So I think there's decent competition, but I think for a game that the Dragon Age is, Greedfall 2 is still. I think that team is doing really well. Spiders, they're mimicking and doing that Bioware experience of a video game, but they're not quite there. Yeah, and again, I need to see Greedfall 2, and that is very much taking inspiration from Dragon Age Origins, but I don't know if they're quite there yet. Either way, though, I think it's a good gap in the market for Veilguard to release this autumn, because the next year, flip a neck, you've got GTA 5, GTA 6, you got.
Please don't re-release GTA 5.
Can you imagine? I know. Can you imagine? I just think it's a good gap in the market. So I don't think it will be delayed. I'm just getting a bit impatient with it, because if they're confident in what they're saying, if all of this is true that I've just said, then just give it to us. If you're confident that the game's coming out, you're ready to do it, What are you waiting out for? I get it. Marketing. I work in marketing myself. I understand the social media presence you need, building stuff up. But like all they're building up to right now is just an announcement of an announcement, and that's really annoying. That's not exciting. That's a bit draining, to be honest. It's getting excited over an announcement for a release date, and I'm patient. I mean, I've been doing this for 8 years. Been waiting for the game for 10 years. I have all the patience in the world for this game, but there comes a time where it gets a bit tedious when you are waiting for the announcement of a release date. We're getting it this month, they've said. Now, what would be nice is if they're like, okay, right, it's coming in a month. Brilliant, okay. But then I'd question, why did you wait so long? When you could have marketed other facets of this game, when you could have talked about this other facet, this other thing. Why not show off the classes, for example? Nothing too spoilery because we've got a lot of story stuff now, but showing off the rogue gameplay, showing off the warrior gameplay, the mage gameplay, things like that you want to get an idea of before you play the game. So I don't think it'll be delayed. I just think I don't understand why they're being clunky in their marketing campaigns, but they very much are. It's yeah.
I understand it's a different sort of like it's another tier, I suppose, because I think when Baldur's Gate was in development, it wasn't obviously as big as it later became when it actually launched. But I'm surprised that Bioware didn't learn from Baldur's Gate in that way and maybe try something early access or demo related to get that kind of word of mouth.
I agree, honestly. And like, look at BG3's success. I know that game is a miracle of a game to exist because it was made during the pandemic. It had so much more funding than initially thought, and because of that, they could increase the scale. I mean, looking at them, the thing is, I know I shouldn't compare it to Baldur's Gate 3, but everybody else is going to look at the marketing campaign of BG3 compared to Dragon Age. They know their community. They know their audience. Bioware do know their community. That's why they're making funny jokes on their social media and stuff like that. Talking about, can we romance the skeleton, for example. They know our community, but Baldur's Gate 3 knew it like that and had the budget and the marketing to do it. From the panels from hell to burning Jeff Keighley alive at Christmas with Santa Claus when they announced the Paladin class, or, just being their authentic selves. But as a double-A studio, having that freedom where they can do that. And I know Bioware could never do that. Now, they could do similar marketing things. They could do panels. They could do open discussions. And I think, to be fair, speculation in the community has been that maybe because of the negative reception of the initial trailer and the gameplay, they've backed away their initial plans. I don't know if that's a bit too speculative. I think as somebody who does work in marketing, it's like when you have a budget, when you've got something planned out, when you're creating content and social media posts, you plan that ahead of time, at least a couple of months ahead of time. Yes, you could cancel all the content and go, no, never mind. But I think that stuff's already planned ahead. So I don't think that they've cancelled it last minute because of a reaction. Because if they're releasing more content about the game anyway, with already a negative reaction, it's just going to, the internet's crazy anyway. So it's just very interesting in the dynamic going on right now. But yeah. Hopefully we just get this released soon. But yeah, I know it's going to face a lot of flack because of BG3. And that's not BG3's fault. That's just the fact that game has changed the landscape as a whole. Yeah.
I think Witcher 3 kind of started people down that road, didn't they, with their side content that kind of fed into the main mission. You can't get away with like Inquisitions, just fetch quests now. You've got to...
It's true. You got to fill the game out, and even Inquisition. I talked to a designer in 2015, and she said that the route for the fetch quest dynamic was overheads at Bioware. First of all, having lack of communication between the teams. So, for example, each area had like the hinterlands and Crestwood. I'm sure you all remember spending slogs of hours on the hinterlands. She said that you had a designer, a programmer, and an artist on each area, and the teams just didn't communicate. So Crestwood had a completely brilliant quest line where you close the rift and the entire world changes. It goes from a very gloomy, spooky place to a beautiful, nice town. And then you'd go and then you'd see the hinterlands. It's got so much content, so much to do, too much. And then you go somewhere like the one of the desert locations, I forget their names, and there's nothing. You are riding a horse in nothing. And that was due to miscommunication of the teams not talking to each other. Like, I've done this really cool thing. Oh, that's really cool. We didn't do that for our area. We did this instead. Oh, well, why are you doing? Oh, okay. So fundamental miscommunication. Don't know why, but it's ridiculous. But again, Overheads was saying at the time, though, that they looked at Skyrim obviously changing the RPG genre, and the audiences wanted 1,000 hours of content and replay value and 1 million fetch quests. And so Bioware went, okay, we're going to do that with Inquisition, forgetting what makes a Bioware game. You play Skyrim for those adventures. You play Skyrim for that dynamic, and Elder Scrolls and Fallout for those different dynamics. I don't play Dragon Age to get lost in an open world, fully immersive. I get lost in Dragon Age for the plot, the choice and consequence, that non-linear with freedom approach, where if you want to help the blacksmith's daughter in Denerim, you can do that because you're going there anyway. But if you don't want to, you can let her die. It doesn't matter, it's your choice. But it's not going, pick up these 5,000 shards to get a Qunari face color thing that you get the end of, and you go, I'm not even a Qunari. Brilliant, thank you. Like, it's just, it's not what, and I know now they learn from that. What we know based on leaks, based on articles, based on what they're telling us, and what they're saying about Veilguard, they've learned from that mistake. They're not having massive open worlds. They're keeping it more level based, which is what we want from a, Mass Effect's the exact same. It's that level-based approach. Mass Effect's a bit more different, but still level-based. I'm going to do this the collector's base. I'm going to go to Citadel for a bit, hang out here. I can do a few quests over there, but then I'm doing the next mission to do Miranda's loyalty mission, whatever. So it's good to hear that doing that, but they just need to embrace what a Dragon Age game really is. And I get that's really hard because every Dragon Age game has a different identity. Origins, classic RPG, hits those 2000 vibes and that audience. Dragon Age 2, no tactics, action orientated, very, very linear, mishmash, but also very much more honed in its story. And then Inquisition, open world, hub based approach, fetch quests everywhere. Dragon Age Veilguard, we'll see. So it's really hard.
Yeah,
it's
moved from open world to it's more mission based, isn't it?
Yeah, which is
linear.
good. Which is what we want. Which again, it's what we've seen so far is the opening mission where they're just running for a town anyway. But they've said that it is now level, but you can still explore those areas a bit, which is good. Which is just like Origins, and that's what we want. I don't want mounts in a Dragon Age game. There's no point. You're missing the party banter, which is a core aspect of these games.
And also, like the whole mount system, like you'd miss out on like companion dialogue and conversations and stuff because they just disappear.
Yeah, they just go poof. Unless they get horses as well, which I don't want a map so big enough that I need a horse. But like, there's no point. That's a huge dynamic of these games that is just gone. It's ridiculous.
Speaking of party banter, though, they have reduced the party size. What's your opinion on that?
I initially didn't like it, and I don't like the fact that I can't control my companions, because I did at least like playing as Varric and just shooting Bianca for a few seconds and just seeing what it was like to play as a rogue, especially on a first playthrough, because it gives you that feeling of, will I play this character, might this kind of build myself, but also just if you want to just try out a mage or a warrior and just trying out their abilities and having that tactical element, I really enjoyed. So initially I didn't like it. I've come now to realize it and accept it, but only because of the fact that it's the fate. It is fate for the game. But I also do. I started out with Mass Effect before Dragon Age, so I accept it more because I know what it was like in Mass Effect, and I'm used to just selecting a companion to do that particular ability. So controlling the companions, I don't like that, but I'm over it. However, the smaller party dynamic, it's going to be interesting because I'm very much used to having a warrior, a rogue, and a mage in a party, and that is quintessential Dragon Age to me. In Inquisition, you absolutely needed all three because there were doors that only a warrior could barge down, or there were lockpicks that only a rogue could barge down, or barriers that only a mage could take down. So you needed all three, and you got that good mix there of a typical kind of D&D group. Whereas now, though, with only two, you're not getting as much of the companion dynamics, and you are not having that. Like there are only 2 warriors, 2 rogues, and 3 mages. And if I was a mage, it's harder now to choose between that party combination. If I wasn't a particular class and I really wanted 2 characters to join my party, I am gonna have no mages, for example, or no rogues. So it's going to be really interesting. However, to remedy that, they have a few characters now. Every companion has their own unique class system. So Harding, who was a dwarf, historically dwarves can't use magic. Now she's got magic. So while she's a rogue archer, She now has magic. So they're kind of making a lot of tweaks and adjustments to characters where they're not traditional rogue, warrior, mages. They're now different. So Tash, our Kunari warrior, dual wields axes. Now that is historically a warrior class, but they got rid of it, and she is a warrior, but you cannot, Rook, your main character, cannot be a warrior with 2 weapons, but she can. And same with Balara. She looks like a rogue. She's got a triangle bow, but she's actually a mage. So they're definitely revamping the classes for the companions. So while it's annoying I can't have all 3 as a traditional kind of party, all of the different companions have their own unique combat systems and styles that are very different to Rook. So I appreciate that. For me, though, my 2 favorite characters so far who I really like are both mages. So it's going to be like, right, I'm not going to have, and if I'm a warrior, I'm not going to have a rogue in my party. I don't like that. Another flip, though, is apparently there's a lot more party banter and a lot more character dynamics. And maybe with only having a group of 3 now, it might be more intimate, it might be more focused, there might be more context around it. So initially negative, I'm coming around to it now. And I think as long as the companions, which they're saying, have a lot more content than they ever had in any Dragon Age game ever, I appreciate that. Because Inquisition had 9 companions and they also had 3 advisors. And that is about 9, I think that was 9 romances altogether. Whereas now Veilguard, all we know so far is 7 companions, all of them are romanceable. But you have, again, what we know so far, no advisors. So you can really hone in on the characters they've got, the romances, the character subplots, and all their different dynamics. And it sounds like they're really diving into that. They're claiming that these are the biggest, best character arcs they've done so far. So maybe, as it comes from a downsizing or it comes from a decision of maybe it was live service and multiplayer, and they were like, right, well, how are we going to make this work for having different people join you? Oh, maybe that's why we can't control our companions now, because we need to make a system that can support not playing as your companions because that was originally built, whatever. Maybe now it's going to have a decent positive flip to it. But yeah, plenty of thoughts on that, really. Hopefully hopefully the character dynamics will make it worthwhile, and it gives you more replay value, but which is good. But I also want to experience all the characters. Yeah, I want to experience more characters at the same time. So again, it's a double-edged sword. Yeah,
I would like to just sort of, I haven't actually asked you any of the questions that are actually on my list yet.
That's fine.
We've been it's like we've had this such a cool natural conversation.
Yeah.
I was just kind of, oh yeah, I have other questions. I mean, I don't know if you've mentioned this in a video that I haven't seen, but how did you come up with the name Jackdaw?
Oh, good question. So I like the bird. I mean, I used to play. I mean, when I created my channel, I loved Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Fair enough.
And that is the name of the ship. But no, I like birds, and I like the idea. I looked at what a jackdaw represents, and so actually multiple reasons. First of all, I liked the ship in Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Second of all, I liked my first name and my surname are a combination of Jackdaw plus more. And then thirdly, I've always liked birds, but also a jackdaw bird, what it represents as a brand. Jackdaw birds are social, clever, and renowned for their devotion. And those are attributes that I figured I'd found my channel on. And I think that I've safely claimed those attributes as my own, being, definitely renowned for my devotion of Dragon Age, for sure.
Oh yeah, your devotion shows in covering the massive gap between Inquisition and and Veilguard.
But even as a brand, I thought as an animal, it's pretty easy to kind of market, and then the whole unique aspect of having a core thing at the start of every video, it felt easy and good to do. But also, it's just my name, my name plus more, my surname. Yeah, it worked kind of holistically together.
Yeah. Also, big fan of Black Flag as well.
Yeah. Apparently, they're making a remake of it. Apparently, so
Wow.
We'll see. And it doesn't need one, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a typical fan of Assassin's Creed, but being a pirate is fun.
It's so good. It's one of my favorites. It's so fun. Yeah.
Okay, so if you had to pick one moment from each of the games, which would be your favorite moment?
Battle of Ostagarth Origins. I think that one goes without saying because it's such an iconic scene. It's that scene it's just like of every fantasy kind of IP ever. It's that scene that it starts so early in the game as the first act. It makes you go, yeah, I'm definitely although if you weren't already locked into that game of the origin stories and the quest line of the Grey Wardens and going out and meeting these characters, that moment just solidifies, yep, I'm sinking another 500 hours into this franchise. Fantastic moment just to see the treacherous but understood actions of Logain, who is such a complex and deep character in the book, not in the game. And that's the thing, in the game, he comes across as a Disney villain, right? He's like sitting on his throne, all menacing, like, this is what I will do and I will devise. Whereas in the book, you understand why he did what he did. And he had a decent reason. He didn't want Ferelden to divert back to Orlais because they just fought them off. And he knew that King Callan had, not King Callan had, whatever he's called, King Marik's son, the other son, Callan had? I can't remember. He was going to marry to Celine, and that would have united Ferelden and Orlais, and he didn't want that, so his reasons were understood. But that scene as a whole, the battle sequence, beautiful scene, fantastic. The way it goes that you don't expect it to. Dragon Age 2, I like a lot of the smaller moments in Dragon Age 2, from getting to know a lot of the characters. It's harder for me to pinpoint a particular point. I do like the introduction to Varric, just because he comes across straight away as such an enticing, fantastic character, and then the fact that he joins you. I like the Deep Road section, to be honest, when you're discovering the Red Lyrium idol, the betrayal of that with Bertrand, and how that kind of is now culminated in a huge plot point, and it sets Hawke's journey in motion. I like that, and I like the quest line as well. And also, when I played that for the first time, Bethany, your sister, died, and it was awful. But I enjoyed like the consequences of my actions being like, actually, if I brought a Grey Warden, Alistair, I would have been better for doing that. But no. And Inquisition, they're all the Act 1 bits. The journey to Skyhold, when Solas leads the way and you become the Inquisitor and you have a beautiful speech. But even like cheesy, but I like the Dawn Will Come scene.
Oh yeah.
I love, there's a line the Inquisitor says after that scene. It's like, fanatical belief is to blame. It was like fear of the new world, the next world that caused this. It's time we started believing in this one. And it's such a fantastic line that for me set my character in motion, but also then the journey to becoming the Inquisitor. But in the fact that was also a ruse by Solas, who is leading you the entire way and is tricking you, well, not overtly tricking you, but telling you something that absolutely is no mission of the truth. And the fact that it's his castle to begin with, and he's got his own agenda. I love that. But at the time, it's such a fantastic, innocent scene now with its own kind of twisted agenda as it comes in hindsight. So yeah, it's always the Act 1 endings. They're always just they know how to do them so well. They really do. Yeah.
Just piggybacking on what you said about that Dawn Will Come scene.
Yeah.
I had to mention, right?
Yeah.
My experience with Dragon Age, or I know for a fact Inquisition, I played during COVID, during like the lockdown period in 2020. So that was my first playthrough, and that Dawn Will Come scene hit me quite hard. Because of that kind of like that hopeful message and like the dark time
I can imagine
vibe. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like, and the fact that it was Liliana, and in my first playthrough I romanced Liliana, it was like so many levels. Like, why does this hit me so hard? But now thinking back on it, I know exactly what it was.
Yeah. It's even funny when Cullen joins it, to be fair, because it's all like lovely and stuff, and then you hear Cullen, it's like it's a beautiful. Honestly, people. There's a lot of opinions over it. I love it because I just like seeing that in a game. From again Origins, where Liliana sang the song to you, and having that now with Inquisition, but it's its own different context. I love that. I kind of like sing songs in video games anyway when it suits the occasion. And for Dragon Age in that moment, I felt like it did.
But even just those tavern songs as well.
Yeah, they're brilliant. They're great. Yeah.
Best part of Inquisition.
I'm so.
Okay, this is a bit of a fun question, I suppose.
Ooh.
Did you ride the Iron Bull?
I have once, but it was very later on in the game. It wasn't in my first couple of playthroughs. It was probably during the pandemic when I was just playing the game again to get more footage. And I was like, you know what? Why not do an Iron Bull romance too? Because I'm making a romance video. I may as well do it. So I have done it once. I enjoy Bull as a character, but I'm not that bothered about the kind of more aggressive romances. I like more of the romantic, sensual ones. Josephine, I know we'll talk about it later, but Josephine is my number one romance in Inquisition. Disney princess kind of atmosphere, very like heartless romantic, very nice, just a happy ending, fulfilling. whereas opposed to the more aggressive ones, which I respect and appreciate. I know a lot of fans like those, but for me, I like more of the sensual ones. But yes, I have ridden the bull.
Love it.
Who is your least used companion out of like all 4 games?
Ooh,
Who do you think? No, I'm not taking you out.
I joke about him all the time in my own podcasts and videos, how much I love him, but I don't. Ogren in Origins.
I love Ogren.
Yeah, Ogren in Origins. I love to joke about liking him. In 2,
Sebastian and Fenris. I can't stand them. Can't stand them. They're so
I like Fenris.
moody.
Sebastian doesn't have enough content. I don't love Meryl, but I do take her actually because she's a good blood mage.
She's crazy.
Yeah, but good crazy. Like she's got a lot of personality, you know. She's innocent and sweet.
I'm in party in Dia 2 is Aveline, Isabella, and Varric. So I don't use Anders. I do use Meryl, but I don't use Meryl as much. Probably set Anders. I rarely take Anders.
See, I love Anders in Awakenings. Yeah. Absolutely love Anders.
Yeah, he's brilliant in Awakening.
But they proper destroyed his character in 2. I really didn't like him.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Anders. Yeah. And then in
they should have put Justice into somebody else, I think.
Nathaniel Howe. Yeah. Inquisition, it would probably be least would be Blackwall. Because his class is a bit meh, but also his character is my least favorite in Inquisition. So I didn't really I don't really bring him out. Yeah, it'd be definitely Blackwall for sure.
Do you think this is I'm interested with how I worded this actually. Do you think the hero of Ferelden should return?
Oh, good question. Fan service wise, it would satiate a lot of people in my comment section. I think it would be very epic if in Dragon Age 5, instead of the Dragon Age 5, we had every single main character come back. Like in Inquisition, we had Hawk come back, and like we know in Veilguard, the Inquisitor's coming back, and Hawk potentially is coming back because Hawk can go to Weishaupt in Inquisition, and we are going to Weishaupt in the Veilguard. So we know that in Veilguard there could be 3 player companions, Rook, the Inquisitor, and Hawk. I would love a Dragon Age game where, kind of like Mass Effect, Mass Effect's brilliant as an example because you've got the trilogy where characters come back in the last game. The first game kind of, this is the companions. Second one splits it up and you get a different mix. Third game, all the ones from the original come back, and then also a bit, you got your dynamics of those. I think for a Dragon Age 5, hypothetically speaking, it'd be brilliant to have a bunch of the hero companions come back, and then a lot of the original cast, Morrigan, Alistair, Liliana. And I think that would just be the ultimate Dragon Age game to end the Dragon Age. And that is the biggest fan servicey idea ever. They all come back together to confront the biggest evil, I believe to be Mafal, who is the elven queen god. Again, subjectively. But that would be so brilliant and so fan servicey if they want to do that. However, pragmatically, lore-wise, it wouldn't make sense. It's been a decade now in the Dragon Age lore since Origins. The hero Ferelden, depending on their age, was now 20 years older. The calling affects different wardens differently, which is where they feel this urge to go on the deep roads and basically die. Yes, you could make a claim that our hero Ferelden was so strong-willed. Even so, it's been 20 years since then now. How long is it going to be until DF5 if they continue to think about doing it for a last game thing? And, how would that even work? It would be, very difficult. And so many people would be very annoyed if they gave that character a voice. So if they're not having a voice, how are they going to do it? Are they so affected by their calling that they just can't speak, but they're still there? Do you really want a character who's not really present, but just there for the sake of it? Then it just sounds like they're being kind of half-assed. So from a lore point of view and a logical point of view, because they were going to do it in Inquisition, they were going to bring back the hero Ferelden instead of, I believe, Hawk, because Hawk joins you for a Grey Warden mission, which kind of doesn't really make sense when you contextualize it. It's like, why is Hawk helping you out? Hawk has a Grey Warden contact. I understand that, but why is Hawk going to the Grey Warden fortress? Doesn't make sense. But because it was supposed to be the hero Ferelden, and it didn't work. So they just canned it. So they've tried it in Inquisition, again, prototyping and testing it out from a story point of view, and it didn't work then. So it would need to work and fit the context. And the question is now, would it, with the Elven God direction they're going in, with this new aspect, I don't think it really would work. I don't think it's needed. So there's a part of me that's fan servicey and says yes. There's a logistical part of me that says no, it's not needed. It depends kind of where you fall in that category. Because again, if they're doing a Marvel thing, fan service wise, and they want to, unravel a Doctor Strange portal and bring back your favorite characters, and they go, there you go, there's your best Dragon Age game. It'll be great, but also like with Mass Effect, it works really well because you earn it and you get like the characters that you start with, and then you see their growth in Mass Effect 2. So in 3, where you got them now even further in their character growth with James Vega, who's not relevant, added at the last minute, but you get to see like those arcs and those really feel fulfilled. Whereas if you just added the hero for Eldon for the sake of it, I don't think it would have a payoff. Really, I think if you added somebody like Alistair or Morrigan, you're going to feel that because you've seen her in Inquisition, you've started the journey of her origins, you're going to feel that payoff. And I think she'll be in Veilguard. People are saying Claudia Black hasn't reported that she's coming back. However, Claudia Black will have signed an NDA and cannot tell you if she's coming back. Also,
very true.
Mafal's spirit essence has been put into a Luvian to become the next vessel of Mafal, and that'll be Morrigan. And so maybe Claudia Black isn't coming back because Morrigan will have a new voice actor being Kate Mulgrew because she's now under possession of Mafal. So, yes, but I think having a character more like that would be more fulfilling. Besides the character we created in Origins, who is most likely long since dead, if not. Because in Inquisition, they said they're looking for a cure for the calling, and that's a nice, happy way for it to end. You can create your own kind of headcanon of, yeah, my character found the calling, and that worked for them, and they did X, Y, Z, and they now still send love letters to Liliana. But I think, if we're looking at it now, it just wouldn't. I don't think personally it wouldn't work. It doesn't work.
Morrigan's got to be in it.
Yeah, Morrigan's
got to be in it.
She's got to be in it.
Do you think that the Veilguard is an anagram for the evil daughter?
I hadn't even thought about that. That's a good one. It could be. Yeah. Did you?
Yeah.
It's got to be, isn't it?
It's got to be. Yeah.
Reason why it's not just Veilguard, it's the Veilguard. It's subtle.
Yeah. I mean, Patrick Trick Weeks does love their anagrams. There was a quest in Inquisition, Fenrirel. Oh, sorry, all new faded for her, and then you anagrammed it to Fenrirel Dreadwolf. So it was literally telling you, because obviously nobody's going to know that if no matter how crazy we are, law nuts, nobody worked that anagram up before, because to tie that Solas is Fenrirel Dreadwolf, based on that anagram, you would have been like, what? It was only afterwards that you then go, wow. But in the moment, you didn't know that. But yeah, Trick Weeks does love the anagram, so it could be the case.
So, can everyone see my screen?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Okay. So, it's not technically like it's a list of characters. So, we're going to kind of play it as romances, essentially. And who knows, maybe we could speculate what we feel about Shale.
But
how do you guys feel about Alistair?
As a character or romance?
Both.
Alistair is one of my favorites. Golden Retriever energy reminds me of a Buffy character. I'd say S tier.
Yeah.
What
about you, Tim? How do you feel?
Yeah, as a character pre King, he is brilliant. After King, he changes slightly because he has to be more official and stuff, and it doesn't really suit him, I think. Romance, I thought was quite a quite sweet romance with him. So yeah, I would definitely go with S myself.
Okay.
By you?
I don't really want to be the guy who drags him down.
You can drag him down. Drag him down.
I just, I don't know. Like, I do think he has his fun moments as a character, especially with his conversations with Morrigan.
Yeah.
But I don't
his
like
banter with Morrigan is absolutely spot on.
It's true.
It is really good. I don't like how he gets so like because it's almost like when you're trying to do the right option of like not outright killing Logain. Like, I mean, I know he's done some terrible things, but the fact that Alistair looks so down upon you for like, wanting to spare this person, and like you could, imprison the guy after the fact or whatever. Like you could, because you have a lot of games where they don't typically punish you for doing the good thing, which is sparing an enemy. But he kind
killed
of
Duncan. Duncan was like a father to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is that. Okay, you guys win. We'll keep him in there.
But I mean, the banter between him and Morrigan, right at the very start of the game, you never actually it's the sort of thing that you don't really hear in games, but you arrive in Lothern and Alistair's like, so what we're going to do? And she turns around and says, aren't you like the senior Grey Warden? Why are we listening to him?
There's even a reference where she mentions the dog, and it's like, I'm not talking to the dog, I'm talking to you, or something like that. Or you're even worse than the dog. I can't remember what it is, but it's brilliant. It's like, yeah.
Yes, but I do remember actually, as soon as he goes into Lothering, he says something like, I can't remember what he says. He says, "Oh, I think we should look for this this group to ally with first or something." And then Morrigan turns to him and says, "Oh, you're back with us. Are you finished like wallowing in your grief?"
Oh yes, yeah.
And he's like, "I think I'm allowed to be sad."
Yeah.
What about Liliana?
S tier. S tier.
Can't be S tier.
She has to be. She's my main romance in Origins. She is sweet, funny, brilliant. Just the amount of jokes she makes, but just the pure innocence she brings to Origins, from singing to you to joking about bird poop from some other madam who gets it in her hair, to even hearing about her tragic backstory with her previous lover, Marjolaine. She's fantastic. And then the development in Inquisition, while it's initially kind of quite polarizing, it's understandable. When the Divines died, she was the best friend to her who got her out of such an awful situation, to advise her about that, to really give her a second chance at life. It's understandable why she is more vengeful. But you can have character development with that if you want to. You can make her more vengeful, or you can soften her to then becoming the Divine. But just her romance alone I love it. I love it.
She also has some great Chantry stories as well. Like, I like that she has that story about Flemeth as well.
Yeah.
And how, I don't know. I don't know if that story, if we know for sure that story is true, or, but yeah, she has some great stories, I find.
She does.
So, Tim, what is it that you don't like about her?
About Liliana?
Yeah.
Not much. No, I really like Liliana. I struggle when I start an Origins playthrough. I struggle between her and Morrigan, who I'm going to romance.
Oh, you just seem to disagree about S tier, though. That was my...
No, not at all. No, if you could go higher than S tier, then yeah, I certainly would. I like the way that in Origins you can actually harden her in Origins.
Yeah.
So that when you go into Inquisition, she's already hardened. Then you can soften her. So it's like the two different playable characters can have an effect on her.
Absolutely. Yeah. So,
I do think it's a little bit of like a creepy weird when you first meet her, though, like, because you know how she says like she had this dream or something about like, flower petals or something.
Yeah.
Like, because of this dream, I knew I have to join you, and it's like, okay.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
She's going to be in.
I hope so. I think I think anybody who is the Divine has to be in the Veilguard. I think. Even as a little cameo or a whatever, like Vivienne, Cassandra, or Liliana. But please, I'd love that.
So she only had a cameo in 2, didn't she? Right at the very end.
Literally, and also in a DLC. But again, it's a conversation. Same with Alistair. He has a quick conversation in a DLC, but it's just a small little thing.
Oh, you can. Alistair can appear in the main game, though, can't he? If you turn him.
Yeah, he does appear in the main. Yeah, he does. Yeah.
God, I will say I really hope that like everyone's romance has a chance of appearing, just because like I don't want to see my Inquisitor back without seeing Cassandra with him. Like,
It's a good point. I know I don't want to see my Inquisitor without Josephine, to be fair. Because, like, yeah, they wouldn't be apart.
Morgan.
I mean, where do you
I
think
mean, guys, I think we have to.
S tier. It has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be,
Yeah.
yeah.
The original Origins cast, a lot of them are just some of the best characters in the franchise.
Yeah.
And Morrigan's romance, her character, the beautiful production from Claudia Black's voice, like everything into that character is just fantastic. The writing, the history behind her, the fact that she's connected to Flemeth, who was the Witch of the Wilds, but now also carries Mafal, the elven god of justice, who is still has a reckoning for the world, and the inference that has for the future with Morrigan being the inheritor of the next age. Morrigan is going to be the one who ends the Dragon Age, apparently. And she's going to name the next age, whatever that be. So she has such an iconic place in this franchise. I really hope that the final boss of this game is not a Mafal possessing Morrigan boss fight, because that would be the worst thing ever. But
can you imagine having to kill her?
It's looking likely. Again, my own theories. I think that could potentially be an avenue. I hope not, though.
I hope you're wrong.
Can you imagine?
I mean, unless you've already stabbed her once and she's still alive. So.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I do love how being a mother also changes her slightly as well.
Yes.
She comes to care more about the world, I think.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice seeing that softer side to her. And she has good banter with Alistair, more wholesome banter. If you get those two to meet in Inquisition, it's like such a rare circumstance. But if you do, it's lovely. It's really nice.
And it's even a bit. It's quite nice that if he's the father as well.
Yeah, and they get to it's true. It's good. It's a good dynamic.
Dorian, Fairy Wing Art says Dorian better show up with my Inky.
Well, yeah, Dorian definitely in Veilguard for sure, right? For sure.
It feels so right as well with it being Tevinter.
Like Dorian will be. Dorian's gonna, I think, have a massive part in this game. I definitely,
Zevran.
I haven't romanced him, but I've heard loads of people romance him and love his romance. I like Zevran. I don't love Zevran. I would personally give him, my own opinion, a B, but that's just because I don't engage with him as much as many people do. What do you both think?
I'm pretty much the same, to be fair. I don't kill him straight off.
No.
But I don't know. He's very open about his sexual. He has no preference, does he?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like him in the party, but again, you have to watch your back with him, and I don't really take him out that much. But I do like the character design with him. That yes, you can kill him straight off, but if you take him with you, he can still betray you at some point. And it was very well done. But I don't tend to romance him once. I think I did the threesome once with him and Isabella and the warden. So yeah, I'd say a B. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I did that one plus Liliana.
That
was my last playthrough.
That's the four-way, isn't it?
That was just my last playthrough where I tried everything. Like I even got what's his name? The Logain. I got Logain instead of Alistair at the end.
Oh, nice.
Did you get Logain to be the father as well?
To be the father? Oh no, I didn't do that. No. Logain is not a good father, clearly. Zevran, though, I guess we agreed on B then, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay.
S for Ogren.
Okay.
I'm really joking. I only said it because everybody on my channel hates that I joke about liking him.
Should we?
What's wrong with Ogren?
He's just a buffoon. He's just a Homer Simpson of a character.
Well, in that case.
I mean, C. I mean, that's too high. D for dimwit.
Ooh,
That's
Harsh.
my opinion.
Harsh.
but he's fun. He's got his drama with his was it like his ex-girlfriend or his ex-wife
Yeah,
or something?
I think
And
he ran away from his. He ran away
I
from his child as well.
Yeah, I didn't like the way that they made him a Grey Warden in
Yeah, in
Awakening.
Awakening. Yeah.
It felt
You
a
know
bit
your
cheap.
favorite buddy from Origins, the one that you loved? Yeah, that one. Yeah, I know you're thinking. Ogren. It's like no.
I will be
Well, no,
honest.
it's the whole the ritual as well. It just drinks it and burps and
Yeah.
Oh my god, he is Homer Simpson.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Okay, could we at least put him in C?
If you want to put him in C, if you two both vote C, you can put him in C.
Go on then. I'll go with C.
Okay. Now, obviously, the sexiest man alive.
Oh,
has to
absolutely. Yeah.
go right here.
So sexy, you can't romance him.
I can't even get a word out of him. So,
Speak.
tell me a bit about yourself. Why? Because I'm interested. Why? All right, I'll talk to somebody else then.
Yeah. When you do talk to him and you do like him, and the ending stuff he talks to you about is lovely. He says that like he hopes not to see you on the battlefield when the Qun do invade, which they're currently doing right now. But he calls you like something in their tongue, which is like warrior or something very nice in their tongue. But the relationship you can have with him, which is very platonic, it's nice. It's good. So I like Sten. I'd say B, to be fair, because he's great, but he's not like amazing.
He does take a bit of work.
He takes a bit of work, and you need to put the effort in, and it's good. It's a good representation of the Qunari, but also like compare him to Iron Bull, and he's definitely B.
Yeah, I really like how he sort of warms up to you towards the end as well.
Yeah,
I only recently managed to get that quest where you find his sword. I don't know why it took so many.
Yeah.
Like he does become quite a nice character towards the end.
He does. Yeah, towards the end is where it really comes to full.
I killed Win.
How can you kill Win?
Win.
I killed all the mages in my last playthrough.
Get out.
Win is like the grandma of the party. She is funny. She's got a bit of flirtation in her. She's got a lovely narrative, which unfortunately, spoilers, in the book, she sacrifices herself so her son or her son's friend can live. In fact, I can't remember. But Win is lovely. Again, though, she hasn't got that much content.
I mean, I found her main trait was just I'm old and I'm dying. Like,
I mean, she's higher than Ogren, so she's a B.
oh, what? Okay,
she's better than Ogren.
That is one thing I wouldn't mind asking you in regards to canon. Do you have your own canon, or do you follow like the book canon and comics?
I like my own, but then because I am following a lot of the book canon and lore canon, I don't really like the Bioware canon one, what they do follow, where it's like Alice is the king and stuff. Mine is like Hero of Realms King. I've got the old god baby with with Morrigan. A lot of my choices aren't what you get. Like Connor from Origins is still alive, where you get to meet him again in Inquisition. But then just from a lore point of view and getting to grips with the Veilguard, I do follow a lot of it now. But like, I don't know what the canon will be for the Inquisition save. So that'll be interesting to see what that will be, if we even know what that will be. Well, it will be the basic playthrough, because what we're now getting in Veilguard is an opening sequence where we get to choose choices from previous games. So it'd be interesting to see what the canon for Inquisition is. But I don't think that will be like a Solas Romancer, for example, which is what my canon is. It will be, my first playthrough will be Solas Romancer, siding with the mages in Dragonage 2, choosing Liliana as my divine. I think Liliana Divine might be a canon one. I reckon that would be a canon. But yeah, it's quite different towards the Bioware canon, at least based on Origins and Dragonage 2. But it'll be interesting to see what they codify for Inquisition, for sure.
Random Wanderer says Fenris's romance was one of the most rewarding Bioware romances.
Oh, for sure. And I think seeing that in the comics as well now, coming even more full circle, it's nice. But they did add a bit more to his romance in the comics too, where he did leave Kirkwall because everybody left Kirkwall. But yeah, it's a very good romance, Fenris's.
So I've never romanced Fenris.
Yeah.
I get annoyed at him being so moody all the time. I just like, oh, I thought he was speaking to you. You're bringing me down.
Yeah. I initially was like that, but then I read the comics and I went back and I did appreciate him more. But it's getting into that kind of mindset. And again, if you have to force yourself to do it, if you don't initially like him, that's it, isn't it?
And every time I play Dragon Age, I can't not romance Isabella.
Yes, yeah. I mean, Isabella is my canon for DA2 for sure. Yeah.
I hate to sort of throw my opinions on you guys, but this man is my rock.
See.
Actually, what is Shale? Is Shale like...
Shale's a golem who used to be a dwarf. She was I can't remember how she was created, but she's going to Tevinter with Wynn. Now Wynn died in a book, but Shale could still be in Tevinter, so we could see her again, which would be great. She also hates pigeons, which is brilliant because she has brilliant dialogue about pigeons.
I mean, as somebody who lives in a seaside town, I also hate birds. So, how do we feel about Loghain?
In the book, he's fantastic. In the game, he's a Disney villain. Still good though. I'd say B, to be honest, but because of like his reasoning is really good in the book, and he's still a compelling character. When you have the context, it's really good. But if you were just saying Dragon Age Origins Loghain, I would put it lower. But if we're considering the entire universe of Dragon Age, I'd put it higher.
I know I need to read Stolen Throne, but as somebody that hasn't, could we put him in high C?
Yeah, it's too high C. As long as anybody's above Ogryn, I think Shale needs to be above Ogryn.
Yes.
There is one person that goes below Ogryn, but we'll get to them.
Okay. Is it Anders?
No, it's not. It could be Anders, but it's not Anders. Anders can go next to Ogryn and C. I would say. Again, I liked him in Awakening. I wasn't hot on him in DA2. I understand people who do like him.
And stabbing is the right answer, isn't it?
Yeah. I personally don't. But I try and give him my time and patience. I just don't really gel with him. I don't really have a justifiable reason besides just don't. I would say it next to Ogryn and C.
Yeah. I tell you what, one of the worst things that happened in my romance with him, like the romance with him, just one thing he said instantly made me hate the romance was, he said, "Oh, basically, if you don't do this thing for me, which I'm not going to tell you what it is, or what the implications are, you don't love me." And I'm like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, you want me to commit this? Essentially, what we later find out is an act of terrorism.
Yeah, exactly.
And basically, you don't want me to ask questions, and like, that's just not fair. Basically,
yeah. Oh, S tier.
Okay.
In my opinion, I love Varric.
I mean, the chest hair is S tier.
The chest hair. I wouldn't say above Alistair, Liliana, or Morrigan. I'd say a bit next to Morrigan. But like Varric, best friend material. He's like the Garrus Vakarian of Dragon Age, in my opinion. He is your buddy, your ride or die. More so in DA2 than Inquisition because he has this interesting dynamic with the Inquisitor compared to Hawk, which I appreciate. And he's been through so much shit. The rebellion of the Mage and Templar War, the start of the discovery of Red Lyrium, or the resurgence of Red Lyrium, flipping the Conclave, where originally he was planned to die in DA2 DLC, to now flipping chasing after Solas, and he's facing the Elven Gods, and Bianca, his bow, gets destroyed in the opening of the Veilguard, leaving his fate to be kind of questionable. But he's gone through so much, and he's always been just a really dependable, fantastic, well-written dwarf storyteller. Yeah, I do love Varric. He's definitely best buddy material.
Do you think he's going to die?
I really hope not, because I love him. I think killing Bianca, with Solas destroying Bianca, is a good indicator to maybe where his character's going to be in the Veilguard. Like, I don't think he'll die straight away. That'd be silly. I think maybe he'll be an advisor, or he can't be a companion because Bianca's destroyed, so he can do this. I think he'll die maybe towards the end or the middle part, but I don't think he'll die straight away. And if he did die, it would be very, very heroic. It would be a brilliant way to die. It wouldn't just be like he's died because of some silly thing. It wouldn't be like an impulsive death. It would be like he's died to save somebody or something like that. Something very willing and sacrificial.
But wouldn't you say it would set up the elven gods as good villains if you have a reason to want to kill them?
You would, but I think for a new player, you get an intro of Varric telling you who Solas is, and then you meet Varric, and he dies 5 minutes later, and you're like, okay, I don't care about you. For me, I would be in tears because I know the game, I know the series. But for a new fan, they go, who was he? He just died. That was crap. So I kind of think, from a perspective of somebody who has not done that, it's a bit like, okay. Like with Duncan, you had time to marinate before he died. You at least had a good couple of hours to get used to him, get to know him, talk to him more. Whereas with Varric, if he literally it's the first mission, he dies. I personally don't think it would be good for new fans. For me, I was crying in that gameplay cinematic, seeing it. I was like, shit, this is awful. But for a new fan, it wouldn't have that effect. So we'd have to see. We'd have to see how they'd pull it off.
I will say, though, I'm semi-glad that Bianca was destroyed because Bianca was standing in the way of romancing Varric. So.
That's true.
Bianca would go in F tier.
Now we can romance him.
That was the plan all along. So S tier for Meryl.
If you think she's S tier, you can put her there.
I would like to plead my case.
Plead your case.
Meryl is a very complex character. She introduces the kind of naivety that comes with people who use blood magic. You know, that kind of new perspective on like why people seek out blood magic in the first place. You know, in the service of finding the history of your people. And I find that like between her accent and her sort of sweet innocent comments in the banter with other companions, it's just like, and the nickname that Varric gives her, what was it again? It was like it's like something.
It was something Daisy, not Daisy.
It sounds. I thought it was flower something. So
it was something flower related.
Yeah, I think it was Daisy.
I think it could have been Daisy.
Yeah, and she has such sweet banter dialogue with everyone else, and she just comes out with like the most inappropriate random stuff. Like literally after the first time you sleep with her, she just screams out, "I love you." It's just the funniest thing.
I will let you put her in A tier.
Okay.
I like her, and I understand the naivete of her character, but I don't like her naivete because she is reckless. She meddles with elven artifacts she doesn't understand, and then tries to fix it, and then is really upset when she does fix it because it doesn't work. And then like kills a bunch of her. Well, she kills the keeper of her clan because of her blood magic, which then releases a demon. And it just all comes from meddling with things that she doesn't understand. And I get that's relatable and understandable, but for me, it was just like, how far would she go? I also don't really like blood magic and people who use blood magic. So that also, when I first played dragonage 2, put a sour taste in my mouth of, oh, she's one of those. But that was only because of the negative perception of blood magic and me not being too bothered about it. But she is cute, and Eve Miles does a brilliant performance of her voice. And she's a good different elf compared to like the likes of like Dalish elves we've seen in Dragon Age before. So I do like her uniqueness in that regard. And she does represent a nice young character too. So I do like that. And you know, the independence of her moving away from her clan into the city is also really cool too. So there are a lot of relatable aspects of her character that are kind of, you know, represent like the human condition, which I like. But
I also just remembered a comment she makes where she complains that basically she hasn't been robbed yet in the alienage. Like she thinks that it's some kind of custom and that she's left out because she hasn't been robbed.
Yeah.
So obviously Tim's favorite has to go here. So
S up.
She is brilliant. She is brilliant.
She's feisty. She's pretty. She can come back and save you if you romance her. If you get
Yeah.
She left my hawk.
Does she?
She
Did
didn't
she
come
not come
back.
back? No.
Uh,
She's a pirate captain. She has a ship. She is a brilliant character. She's sassy. She introduced the swear word by Andraste's tits into the franchise. Needless to say, she's a brilliant character. Yeah.
also,
I need to
feel like
find a
I should-
mod for Origins because you can change her
Yeah,
appearance.
you
can't
can.
you?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
I need to start saying their names when we do this because we have got an audio version. That was Isabella. Okay, so Fenris.
I liked him in the comics really a lot. So I'd put him next to Win and B, but that's just me. He does remind me of a Twilight character or a Final Fantasy character. He literally has grey hair and a massive two-handed sword.
Be careful. I think you might upset Farron when you hear.
Well, yeah, we'll keep him in high B. Sorry, yeah, low B. Yeah. I like him. I do like him. He's got a good narrative. He does, in terms of why he is broody, the way he makes sense. But obviously, if you don't like broody characters, you're not going to gel well with him. But if you understand him, it does help.
Yeah, he does have like you can when you know like his story as well, you can completely understand why he is so afraid of mages as well. Like maybe not necessarily. I think you could argue that he's afraid, but that he wouldn't ever say that he was afraid.
Like he's so afraid that he uses his anger instead of he showcases anger instead of fear.
Yeah. I what do you think, Tim? B?
Yeah, I suppose. Maybe
Okay.
C. So I haven't actually romanced him. So
Yeah.
I tried to. I couldn't for some reason. It was kind of annoying, but I've seen it online. So
Yeah. Aveline, I like as a character, but romance you can't romance her. She has a cute romance with the Knight Captain, or whatever he's called, Donick. She's good. She is my main warrior. I like her dynamic. I like how you grow with her. I put her next to Fenris B because she's good, but she's like also quite at the same time well written, but also a little bit just standard. She's got a very she's a good representation of like her dynamic of being a guard captain and going through the ranks, and she's got this love tryst romance going on and stuff like that. But also like I remember always enjoying her character, but she is also kind of just quite vanilla, which is fine. But she she is just a vanilla character who you can enjoy.
Yeah.
There is nothing really it blows me away about her besides the fact that she's dependable, consistent, and has a few laughing moments here and there, but it's very quite strict and straightforward and
So speaking of bland characters, we have Blackwall here.
Put him next to Ogrin. I've romanced him and I just don't like it. He basically, you romance him in a barn, and he leaves the barn and leaves the Inquisitor there naked and just lies to you through your teeth. The thing about Blackwall is he's a liar, and it's great. It's a good character aspect, but Solas does it a lot better. And you've got two liars in your party, and one of them has this lie that has the entire plot, and the other just lied because of XYZ reasons that just don't feel as good. And I like getting to know him as a friend. I like his lumberjack dynamic. I like talking to him and learning about his lies. And when he reacts to the warden who talks to him about Duncan, and he's like, yes, Duncan, good man. And knowing that he was lying is really funny because it's like, oh yeah, that was a ruse. But for me, he is the blandest character of Inquisition. He's just, I don't know. He doesn't offer anything.
I think the biggest disappointment was a lot of people wanted him to be an actual Grey Warden. They wanted to have an actual Grey Warden companion.
They did, yeah. And you think like, the game has always centered around this legendary faction. And there's a big part of the Inquisition about the Grey Wardens. And yes, we did get Alistair Shroud all again. But it would have been better if Blackwall was actually Warden Blackwall from the games. And he was a true and tried Grey Warden. I just think it'd have been better if we had that dynamic. But yeah.
Okay. I do just want to check with you, Jack. Are you okay to keep going? 'Cause I
Yeah,
know-
yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Okay.
it's all good. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. How do we feel about Cassandra?
I really like her. I'd say she's a solid A character. She's well written, brilliant character from Dragon Age 2, carrying the torch as the right hand of the divine. She's a hopeless romantic. Her romance is really sweet because you think
Yes.
she's going to be kind of aggressive and stuff, but no. You read her poetry, you have a picnic. It's very adorable.
She has a thing for Varric's series of books.
Very series of books, which is fantastic. I like. She's my first romance in Inquisition, and I do like her a lot. Yeah, I do like Cassandra.
She has a bit of a character development as well from 2 when she's like really angry and aggressive and that, and you can see the softer, sweeter side of her in
Absolutely.
Inquisition. So
Yeah.
Can we not put her ahead of Isabella?
Yeah, I think we can.
Like, Tim, do I have your blessing?
Tim said no. Tim said no.
I think the silence speaks volumes. So
Yeah.
I'm going to put her here.
He said no.
He's like, "Don't you
Isabella should be
dare."
right up there in front of Alistair. I'm still gutted they didn't bring her back for Inquisition.
I know. Well, maybe Veilguard, because it would make more sense. Pirate captain, it would be brilliant. We're going to Ravane as well, which is her home country. It would be great to see her. Surely. There's a lot of room for her to be back.
I don't understand the love for Isabella personally, but I'm just gonna.
What do you mean?
She's a pirate captain.
Her whole shtick is just, I'm going to talk about sex. Like,
And your point is, have you seen them boots?
I don't think it's the boots you mean, Tim. But let's just. I'm just going to nod with you guys and say, okay, let's. I'm gonna agree because you guys agree. So, I forgot Colin's name for a minute there.
Colin.
Thank you. What do we think about?
It's
Colin?
a good romance. I know a lot of people in the community love it, who who like romancing men and those dynamics. They love it. They like the cully wooliness, I suppose you could say, the aspect of romance with him. I don't mind it. I've romanced him once for one of my Inquisitors. It's a good romance. He's a very interesting character. I think Cullen is so far the C-3PO of Dragon Age. He's been in every game. I don't think he'll be in Veilguard for many reasons, but number one being that his character arc is ended, I reckon. Yeah, his journey's been really good to see, from going from Origins, where he hates mages, to sees the Mage Templar rebellion, understands Meredith, and sees the contempt of her. So he kind of realizes, there is evil on both sides, and an Inquisition to becoming the lead commander of the Knight Commander of the Inquisition, and then struggling with his addiction with lyrium, having left the Templar Order. So he's got a good character development, and that does make for a decent romance where you see somebody struggling with addiction, which is a very good like human story that I appreciate Bioware doing. And it's a decent romance. So I would give him an A next to Merrill, in my opinion, just because of the amount of like human writing in his character.
Yeah. I will say, considering how much trauma he's been through as a character with mages, to even consider working with him in Inquisition is a big,
it's for sure, because that scene in Origins is horrifying, but that was just the extreme of the extreme. So then seeing Meredith and the extreme of the extreme kind of helps him see that there is evil on both sides. It isn't just one or the other. That it does exist.
I don't think you guys would approve of me having Merrill ahead of him, so I'm gonna.
That's fine.
There we go. Wedge him in nicely there. Solus.
I'll let you guys go first because I could go on for 5 hours about Solus.
I like Solus as a character.
You do? No, you don't.
I've never actually romanced him. but I've heard it is quite a nice one.
Nice and torturous.
Yeah, I've heard it's quite difficult in Trespasser if you've romanced him as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd from him as a whole character, I'd definitely put him in S rank.
Yeah, I love Solas. He's my favorite Inquisition character, but one of my favorite Dragon Age characters. What he represents, his romance is fantastic. The idea that you don't need a romantic sex scene to sell romance is what I love. You have a scene where he removes the Inquisitor's Valislane, which is the slave markings, and like that kind of can be seen as like a sensual scene of him removing something that the Inquisitor can never take back, but also the idea of what that means, because that's only Fenrirel did that. So he's actually telling the Inquisitor who he is, but she doesn't understand because she doesn't know that that's what the Dreadwolf did back in the day. And it kind of that's the moment he pulls away, is because he knows that she doesn't know this. And if she did know what she did know what he was doing, and that he was Fenrirel, the Dreadwolf, they would have been together and stayed together, and they would have done whatever together. But that's that moment where he knows that he can actually leave without her knowing who he is, at the least point of like absolute chaos where they would run off together, or she would join him to do whatever. And it's just a very, very beautifully well done, tragic romance. I love it. Like it just the complex. For me, it's like David Tennant's Doctor Who and Rose Tyler. Besides the fan service aspect of that, where in the 4th season they recreate. I don't know if any of you are Doctor Who fans, but it's yeah. That's where that happens. Where like they have that. He is a millennia year old. She's young, but there's this connection, but they can't share it for XYZ reasons, and then shit goes down the fan and stuff. But yeah, it's a lovely romance, and I'm excited that there's going to be a conclusion to that in the Veilguard. If you love him, you hate him, you're his best friend, or you know whatever. I really, really like that. So I love Solas. He is one of my favorite characters. I would put him SSSS, but that is just my opinion.
Well, there we go.
I
think it was him that also revealed that the markings were slave markings, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's in the moment he does it, but he's telling Llewellyn, but then Llewellyn doesn't know that it was Fenrirel who did that, and it's only in Trespasser when they realize that it was only Fenrirel who did this, and that's when it's like, it's just when you connect it all together, it's really sad. But he does it because he knows that she would join him, and like it's not that he would stop his plan to destroy the world. It's the fact that he doesn't want Llewellyn to see what he'll become, and so he has to do it to stop her from joining him, because he's going to become something else. Or in the process of destroying the veil, he's going to become literally something else, and he's going to walk the journey of death. So yeah, it's tragic.
Yeah, I try to do a full playthrough before I get to Inquisition, but I've only done 2 full playthroughs. I've actually only technically done Sarah and Cassandra's.
Oh yeah.
I do fully intend to do Solas's at one point.
I'd recommend it before Veilguard, just to get the subcontext of it a little bit more. Just because it's really good lore, it's really good stuff, but it's also tragic as hell. But
yeah. I've seen bits of it. Like I've definitely seen the markings bit because of just how significant it is. I think I saw someone play through the romance. Actually, I think that's how I know it so well. I saw someone do a full playthrough doing it, and it is a very beautiful romance. It almost feels like the canon. It feels so natural.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Everyone's favorite character, Vivienne.
I like Vivienne. I like that you can flirt with her. I just wish she was actually romanceable. The thing about Vivienne is she doesn't have enough content.
Yeah.
Her story in Inquisition is that she needs Wyvern hearts for her lover to live, and he dies. And there's so much more to her character, but she doesn't get it. She contradicts like mages in the circle because she believes in, she realizes that magic is fearful. She's a good contradiction of a mage. However, that's all she really is.
Yeah.
She needs a bit more. That's the thing about Inquisition. There's so many characters that some of them don't get enough substance or content. And I think that's a side effect of the game being so big, so fetch questy. And Vivienne is one of the characters who suffers from that greatly, because you get one quest with her, if that. and it is a fetch quest to go and kill 3 wyverns or a wyvern, and then you go to Orlais, and then you see her dying partner, and that's it. Like it's nothing. It's really nothing, which isn't fair because she's, I think, a brilliant character, but deserves more content because you don't get it, you know. And she's she's fun to play as well as a knight enchanter, but it just lacks. And that's the same again for Blackwall. Similar reasons for a few other characters where they lack, just because of the scale of that game. So I don't know where I'd put it, to be honest.
I was thinking somewhere slightly midway in C, if you guys agree.
Yeah, that's the midway C. Lack of content.
Yeah,
she's not fully realized.
We've got like a bit of a bland, well, semi-bland theme going here. We've got evil person, and we've got Josephine.
Oh, next to Isabella and S. In my opinion, it's a lovely romance. It contrasts Solas's romance of being sad and tragic. It is Disney princess. It is heartless romantic. It is lovely. You fight for her love in a flipping duel scene against an Antivan nobleman. It is so lovely. And it's wholesome. Like, yeah. And you've got the theater with her in Inquisition, in Trespasser, sorry. I'd say next to Isabella. Because it's brilliant, but it's not as it's a good romance. But again, content. You do get more content with Josephine being an advisor, but you can't bring her out, so you don't get the party dialogue, or you don't get to experience those aspects of her character. But for an advisor, she has a lot of content, which is good.
Okay, I think I'll take your word on that one because I've not romanced her.
I would recommend it. I'd recommend it.
Yeah, she was my first romance.
Yeah. Mint. Yeah.
Did you like her too?
Hey,
did you like her?
Yeah. No, it was like Jack says. It's a lovely. It's a nice romance to it. You like you said, you don't have to have a sex scene for it to be
exactly
a romance thing. It is. It's a lovely.
Yeah. I
think they sit on the sofa and
just cuddle. Yeah,
cuddle. That was it. And then my Trespasser playthrough. He said he's going to marry her. I was like,
oh. Oh, yeah.
I had the same thing with Cassandra, and it was just so
yes.
sweet.
Oh, it's funny. Yeah, it's brilliant. That.
Spoiler. Dorian.
I've done his romance once. I more like Dorian's character because I like the fact that his conversation with his dad, where he talks about his sexuality and how his dad tried to change him, and that comes from David Gader's own experiences as a homosexual and the lead writer of Dragonage, and his own experience, I think, with his dad. And that, again, just represents the human condition of this isn't just like a willy-nilly character in a game based on nothing. That is a deeply human experience that you can feel the emotion in it, regardless of your stance on the character. And it is such a beautiful scene and experiencing that character and why he is the way he is, why he doesn't like the idea. Well, there's so many contrasts he has as a Tevinter's Magister, but his romance tying into that scene and that character is fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it. It's just beautifully done.
Yeah, I can't even like put into. You pretty much put it into words yourself. Really, it's just yeah. So where are we thinking?
I'd say highest of A's because I haven't romanced in a while. I can't remember the romance, but the character itself is fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just can't rightly remember how the romance dynamic goes. I remember he gives he gives the Inquisitor anyway an amulet in Trespasser, so he can talk to you. But I would say highest of A's.
Yeah, and I just love that, like, despite everything, he goes back to Tevinter as well, sort of.
It's
like
true, yeah.
Confronting his demons, I suppose.
It's
in
true.
A way.
Yeah. And his dad's been murdered, and so he's going back to take his role, which is where he's going to be in Veilguard. But I hope that we actually get to see like a murder mystery of his dad. It won't happen now because it's been 10 years since. Pardon me, but I was very much interested in that kind of. He's been murdered. You don't kind of just shove that under the rug. I kind of wanted a plot point of how's that going to be settled, but I think 10 years now, probably not. We'll find out.
Yeah, I suppose he's one those ones that can't die in Inquisition either. I know a lot of characters actually can't, but
Yeah.
just kind of sets the
Yeah.
precedent that surely
sure.
he's got to be in it.
Oh yeah.
So the Iron Bowl.
Low A is good. I enjoyed the romance. Again, I'm not bothered about aggressive characters personally. Respect those who do. I enjoyed riding the bull. I love Iron Bull Moore's his character though. He's a good buddy. When he talks about when you fight a dragon and you drink with him, he talks about how he'll make love to himself while thinking about the dragon fighting with great respect. And it's like, whoa, okay. He's just a fan. He's just again a buddy. The fact that he's voice acted by Freddie Prinze Jr., who I know is also James Vega in Mass Effect. It's just brilliant saying that character is voice acted by Freddie Prinze Jr. from at least Scooby-Doo is brilliant. But he's a brilliant character. I'm not a big fan of aggressive romances, so I'm not bothered. But he's good.
Yeah.
I was annoyed that he betrayed me.
Well, did you sacrifice the charges?
I must have done.
Yeah. Or maybe not done it. I think if you don't do it, yeah, that happens too. Yeah.
Oof. Sarah.
I think you should put the dog next. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Where we put the dog?
Yeah. Sarah. Sarah is. I like Sarah. Her romance is lovely.
Sarah.
Her romance is lovely. The cookies, the things that she's so fearful of that are contextualized so kind of gently. She is like a representation of somebody who's scared of the unknown, scared that the idea that the maker who has a butt, which means that if the maker has a butt, if there's a throne of the maker, that means the maker has a butt. And if the maker has a butt, then that means the maker's a real person. And if the maker's a real person, that means that the chant of light is real. And if the fade's real, that means magic. And that kind of absolute irrational impulsivity we can have as human beings. Of if that means that's true, then that means that must be true. And it's irrational behavior, but I think as a young person, you feel that when just growing and learning about things yourself. Not to get too deep, but it is those impulsive moments that for me she really it can come across as annoying, and I can understand people don't like that. It's a very human experience. Again, it's just a defining point of Bioware characters. They are written from the human condition. And in a romance where she's talking about cookies and why she doesn't like elfie elves and the person who used to make her cookies and what that means. There are so many very, very sweet moments in that. But I do enjoy the overall goofiness. While some people again find it annoying, I liked it. And the fact that she's got she's got that kind of Midlands British kind of representation, which we rarely see in video games as a whole, kind of like a working class Brit really represented. I don't know, it's not overtly represented, but her actress is from Derby, and while she doesn't really have that kind of accent, it is kind of that more rugged working class element, and I appreciate that in video games. I really do. It really that's why I gravitated to her a lot, and I can kind of understand why North Americans wouldn't, because they're probably not used to that. They're like, whoa, it's a bit too whack. I don't get it. But as a Brit, I really appreciated that aspect and that being shown in that light in a fantasy setting. So I really like that.
I like the way that they brought her in from the Friends of Red Jenny as well, which it's just a small little thing from Origins that
it just ties it together nicely, neatly. Yeah, I would probably put a mid next to Dorian and Air, because it's a good romance. And again, all the human condition stuff, the eating cookies on the roof of the tavern of Skyhold is a very endearing moment. The dynamic she has of different races. If you're a Canary, she loves you. If you're an elf, she basically dislikes you. If you're a dwarf, she likes you more. If you're a human, you're just a human. So it's like she's very dynamic. And the banter she has as well between Iron Bull and Dorian, beautiful.
I hate putting her above Cassandra.
Then put her next to Cassandra. Yeah, don't put her above. I wouldn't put her above Cassandra. That's fine. We can put her next to Cullen.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree to that. I agree to that. I agree to that. That's fine.
I could sleep. Are we doing the Mabari?
Mabari's above S because Mabari is the maker.
Are we doing? We are doing Bark Spawn.
Yeah.
We've got him.
One.
He is.
Above
He is
the
on
maker.
the throne of the Maker.
You named yours after me.
Yes, I did call my last Mabari Tim.
Oh, that's cute. Tim Backspawn.
Yeah. So the truth and Harel.
Yes.
So where are we putting? I genuinely forgot his name. Why did I
Cole.
forget his name? Cole.
Maybe he made you forget. That's why.
Ah,
I understand the diverse opinions of Cole, the divide. I didn't like him when I first played the game. However, I love him now, only taking the time to get to know him, read asunder, and really get into his character, because he comes across as very difficult and hard to get on with. And if you sided with the mages, you get no context of him whatsoever. He literally appears as Skyhold, and that's it. But if you do the Templar quest line, he's inside your head and he's guiding you, and you get so much context of the nature in him, the spirit, that him being a spirit and what he means. And that is so much of a better introduction that I don't think they should have. I think it's difficult. It's difficult. I get why they've done that, but the context for him is needed, absolutely. And if you don't do that, it suffers. And I think most people do side with the mages as opposed to the Templars as a basic playthrough. But like, I love Cole on the representation that he is. He kind of is. He's based on. He's like written from the perspective of like a character with autism struggling. So like he is. I mean, he is a spirit in the body of a young boy, but also just the dynamics that he brings to the game, the different things that he talks about and how he feels, and he can read other people's minds and he feels things differently. The hypersensitivity to the hypersensitivity of that, and he embodies compassion. And he wants to help everybody fundamentally, but he doesn't know how to. Sometimes that means killing somebody. Sometimes that means actually healing somebody. But also the relationship he has with Solas is fantastic. He knows everything about Solas before the Inquisitor. He knows who Solas is, and that relationship is fantastic.
And there's just that level of complexity where you can choose if he remains human, well, if he turns human,
yes,
or if he remains a spirit.
Yeah, and that has such an underlying consequence on him as a character. I really like Cole. He's one of my favorites again. What do you guys think? Because I'm willing to yeah.
I never really I didn't really interact with him that much. I didn't quite get his character, I don't think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't really bring him out that much.
Yeah. That's the thing, he's very difficult to get, and it takes the work to get to know him. It really does.
I think he's got like such a sort of that weird element to him, this random element to him that just also feels like sweet in a way.
Yeah.
And I would maybe argue more sweet than Meryl.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. I'm happy with that. Okay.
And then we are on the final two.
My least favorite character in Dragon Age, Carver, F.
So
I personally don't agree. Sorry, don't like him. I understand the complexities of his character. I understand he's envious of his brother or sister who is doing a better job, I understand that I can't remember if he's a big brother or a little brother, but I get the dynamic of the sibling rivalry. I get it, but I don't like it. I'm coming from somebody who understands his character, but he's whiny, he's annoying, he doesn't develop, in my opinion, or he does develop, gets better towards the end, but I love Bethany, and I'm like, I'm not having a whiny brother over Bethany. I just let the ogre kill him. I don't like him. I really I do try, but I don't.
It's weird. I did like 5 playthroughs or something crazy of Dragon Age 2. I did it so many times before I played the other two.
Yeah.
But then when I realized you could have the brother survive, I was like, oh, that's cool. And I was so disappointed, and I hated him so much. I was just like, I'm leaving you in the deep roads.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like,
I don't like him. I don't. The redeemable quality is he gets better in the end, but then you have to play your entire playthrough with a character that gets better you don't even like. That's not redeemable.
No.
I'm not doing that to myself.
at least there's a complexity to like Fenris, for example. If you don't agree with him, like
Absolutely.
understand him.
And the thing about Carver is he's with you for Act 1, disappears, and comes back in Act 3 to get that development. So, like, with Fenris, you're with him all along the journey. You're there seeing that growth. With Carver, you don't witness it. You don't get to really tangibly feel it. You just see it. So that's where the difference lies, I think, as well.
And then I can't believe I forgot the sister's name.
Bethany.
Bethany. I'm sorry. I don't know why I was thinking Jessica, but Bethany. There we go.
I like Bethany.
I like Bethany. She just doesn't have a lot of content,
Yeah.
which is great. But like that's just some, you know, she's a brilliant character though. I'd give her she's better than Aveline. I like her more than Fenris, to be honest. I like her more than Wynn.
I like Varric's storytelling of her as well.
Yeah.
Have you seen that at the very start of Dragon Age 2 when he's talking? He's telling the story. He over exaggerates bosom.
Yeah,
and,
he does. Yeah.
as well as your fighting ability.
It's so weird that they do that.
Very subtle in that, but
it's really
it gives
subtle.
you the Varric's kind of
it's over embellished version of it.
So
But yeah, it annoys me that you can't play as a female character and still have her.
Yeah, it's you can't. If you're a mage, you can't be. If you're a mage, she dies. If you're a warrior or rogue, Carver dies. But I can't remember about the female or male part of it.
I think if you're a male, you have her as the sibling. If you're a female, you have Carver as the sibling, don't you? Unless you're a mage.
If you're a mage.
Yeah, it's just to keep your party balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's the list, though.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all.
It's funny, like, because I think originally we planned this to be a robots list, and then we ended up with like Mabari and like.
I mean, Mabari should always be at top.
There's also what do you call her? They're from one of the DLCs. You can romance her as well, can't you? Or you get a kiss off her, don't you?
Yeah, you get a kiss off it from Felicia Days.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Is it her?
No.
Just above the S and save, where it says save or download. Yeah, that's the one.
I don't remember her.
Yeah, she's like D.
Oh, she's the Kasumi one, isn't she? The one that you did that one mission with.
She did like a TV special for it as well.
Yeah, she did. We don't talk about that. It wasn't awful. Yeah.
D.
Yeah, D.
Wow, that was a good barrel of laughs.
Absolutely.
Don't know where we go from here.
Well, no. Is there anything that you're currently working on that you'd like to plug or let people know, make aware of?
Sure. Yeah. I'm going to be working on there's a Dragon Age Edge magazine that came out in the UK that's just came out this week. So I'm going to be covering that next on my channel, which is great. Actually, we've got exclusive UK content for a change, which is crazy, considering Game Informer and San Diego Comic-Con. So I'll be covering that next. I'm just getting I just ordered the digital edition of the magazine. Apparently, people are saying it's got a lot of new news compared to Game Informer, and they prefer the approach of Edge than Game Informer. I'll have to see myself. I haven't read it yet, but I'm excited I'll be doing that next. But no, that's really it for me. I really appreciate you both having me on. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you ever so much for taking your time out to join us.
Yeah, no, you're most welcome. We're both Brits, so it's easy. Yeah, it's really easy to kind of work in sync and stuff.
Where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Jackdaw YT, and same handle on Twitter, across Instagram as well, Jackdaw YT. Muchly appreciated.
All right, thank you very much. Anything else you'd like to add, Craig?
It's just been such a pleasure having you. And like I say, I'm a big fan of your stuff, and
Thank you.
I just want to quickly ask one more question.
Let me-
Where did the clowning on those streams come from? Like the idea of clowning across these events, and
It was a kind of a community thing of we're waiting for this game for so long. When is it going to come? When are we going to get it? And then it kind of just became we are clowns because we're showing up at events just expecting a game or we're expecting an announcement. So it came from just accepting that we are clowns for wanting Dragon Age content. And then we just fully embraced it in the pandemic. And then since then, we have dressed up as clowns, have the clown emojis, and just became clowns. I've got my clown nose somewhere. I can't find it right now. But yeah. We just embrace the madness. It's like, you know what? Why not?
I love it. I love it.
I'm glad. I know. I tell people in real life that I dress up as a clown and like, what? So it is. I think it's reserved Brit as well. It's like you go into your work and you talk about that, and they're like, okay. But online, it's so different. Everybody loves it. It's brilliant. It's good to have that dynamic. It's very different. Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you for joining us. It's been so amazing talking to you.
Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it. No, anytime. Thank you so much.
Okay, for that, thank you everybody for watching and listening, or we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.